Today, we have almost as many people living in poverty, somewhere around 46 million, than at any time in the last 60 years. We have the highest rate of childhood poverty of any major country on earth, somewhere around 22%. We have more income and wealth inequality than any major country on earth. And astoundingly, in the last study that I've seen, between 2009 and 2011, Mr. Chairman, all of the new income created in this country went to the top 1%. Meanwhile, as Dr. Reich has implied, many of the new jobs that are being created are low-wage jobs, service industry jobs. That's the problem. Now, I would just mention for the record that Vermont, my state, has the third highest minimum wage in the country, and that is $8.60 an hour. We also have the fourth lowest unemployment rate in the country. And I would just say for the record, I have really not heard almost anybody suggest that raising the minimum wage to the level that we have in Vermont has been an impediment to our economy, which is doing reasonably well. I think Bishop Blair, a while ago when he spoke in his remarks, made a very important point having to do with the dignity of work and the appreciation of work. And that if somebody is going to work, that person has got to receive at least a wage that they can go out and live with dignity on. That's an extremely important point. And when we don't have that, and I was in Detroit, Michigan, talking to African-American kids a couple of weeks ago, there are kids there who are desperately trying to do the right thing. You know what the best jobs that they can get if they're a high school graduate, even with some college, is working in a fast food restaurant at $7.25 an hour. They can't even get 40 hours a week. They're getting 20 hours a week. They're getting 30 hours a week. They are desperately trying to bring themselves out of poverty. They're going nowhere in a hurry. Now, if I understand Mr. Shirk's remark, and correct me if I'm not, one of the points that you made is that by raising the minimum wage, people are going to lose certain government benefits which provide them with a higher standard of living. So your minimum wage goes up, you're going to lose food stamps, you may lose a part of the earned income tax credit, you may lose affordable housing, you may lose Medicaid, and at the end of the day, one is worse off than one would have been if we raised the minimum wage. Am I understanding you pretty correctly?
More or less.
Okay.
So you've basically got two effects. Some people lose their job, some people don't lose it, but they see most of the benefits
Right.
clawed back, and
Now,
so they don't come out ahead.
Okay, I am reading from as I understand it, a quote from the Heritage Foundation. It says, and I quote, "Food stamps is an expensive, old-style program that rewards idleness." Now, what we're hearing in the House, what we're seeing in the House are massive cuts in Medicaid, massive cuts in food stamps, transforming Medicare from what we know it, cuts in the Pell Grant program. I would assume, based on what you told me, that the Heritage Foundation would be strongly opposed to all of these disastrous Republican cuts in social programs. Am I correct in assuming that?
The problem we have with the social programs is that they deny low-income workers the fruits of their labor. I believe the context for that quote was in the need for a work requirement.
All right, let me be more direct.
Yes.
Your argument is if people make more money, they're going to lose programs. One rational solution to that is to increase programming. So are you in favor of substantially increasing the food stamp program and Medicaid benefits? Is that the Heritage Foundation's position?
Well, first of all, I'm not here officially representing the Heritage Foundation.
You work for the Heritage Foundation.
Just as Dr. Reich here is not officially representing his college or his school. But my argument is that we've removed the incentive to work. That if you take a look at families below the poverty line, 2/3 don't have any adults working at all.
So we remove the incentive to work by having adequate social programs, so you're opposed to that. But then on the other hand, you are opposed to raising the minimum wage so somebody can earn a decent living to go out and buy the food and the shelter that they need. I don't quite understand it. Right. I don't quite understand it. Either you're for one or the other. If you're saying that you want people to have a minimal standard of living and not raise the minimum wage, you have to compensate for low wages by having decent social programs.
I'm saying what we should do is restructure the social program so the benefit phase-out rates don't overlap at the same time.
Should we
so that
raise
no
them
one's-
at the end of the day?
If
I can't understand how, if you're going to, you seem to be a smart guy, but you're arguing two absolutely contradictory points. You can argue that raising the minimum wage will result in lower benefits. Bad thing. Good point. then the answer is that we provide more benefits. Or you can argue, forget the benefits, let's make sure everybody in America makes $15, $18 an hour. We don't have to worry about the benefits. Which point do you?
Part of the problem with the benefits is they create these phase-out rates. The high marginal tax rates that get close to 100% come from the existence of the benefits phasing out. And so Senator Harkin's state of Iowa, the reason that a hypothetical single mother with one child would come out behind is because of basically the massive child care subsidies.
Do you
they have
think
in
the
Iowa.
federal government should address it?
So the issue would be that by providing fewer benefits, you reduce the effective phase-out rate, or by, even if you're spending the same amount, coordinate the benefit phase-outs so that they're not all happening at the same time over the same income level.
There are
I
some
appreciate that, Senator.
conservatives who do not believe in the concept of the minimum wage, wage. In other words, if the economy is such and, I can offer you $3 an hour.
Let me jump in. I don't believe in it.
You do
We
not?
can debate. I do not.
All right, then we have a
Just
ranking
even
member.
things up as long as we're going to have a.
All right, there we go. This
As
is
long as
good.
we're going to interrupt the chairman and ask our own questions,
Okay, so you do not believe in the concept of the minimum wage?
That's correct.
You would abolish the minimum wage?
Correct.
Okay. And if somebody had to work for $2 an hour, they would work for $2 an hour?
No, I would go for a much more targeted approach. I've been around long enough to remember Pat Moynihan and the negative income tax. And the question I would want to ask, if we are interested in social justice, and if work if we want to honor work instead of getting a welfare check, then wouldn't a more efficient way to help people in poverty be to increase the earned income tax credit rather than to do what we always do here, which is come up with a big idea and send the bill to somebody else? I mean, what we're doing is coming up with a big idea and sending the bill to the employer. Just like we come up with a big idea about Medicaid and send the bill to the governor. Or we come up with a big idea about storm sewers and send it to the mayor in Burlington. Why don't we just pay for the big ideas we come up with? And if we want to create a standard of living for people that's much higher than they have today, why let's attach the dollars to the job and everybody pay for it. I don't want to do that, but if we were going to do it, then that's the way I would think we should do it.
Okay. That's a very interesting discussion for another time. I just did want to ask Mr. Shirk, you heard what Senator Alexander said. If Senator Alexander brought forth a bill to abolish the minimum wage, what would you recommend?
Well, again, I believe the minimum wage hurts its intended beneficiaries, and I think that it is not. I do not support the concept of minimum wage.
Okay, I appreciate your honesty. Thank you.